lot of options to try and spread out. Now, something that we've seen on Erangel through this tournament is a little bit more of a return to normalcy, a little bit more of the standard issue competitive behavior we've seen time and time again from these guys, trying to get looted up, grab that center area compound, play easy through the mid game, and then try and make a play in the end.
Well, see, here's a question I have for you. With this plane path, it's going to be really hard to get down to Sosnovka Island. If you're the Kings of Sosnovka, how do you get down there easily? Do you still go for the car and go for the push over there? Or
it depends. I mean, you can long float so far. In this instance, you can grab a vehicle, get down there if you want to, but it depends on how much they want to bank on a southern circle, and they could probably, if they wanted to pull early, wait to see for that circle to reveal itself, but that's a long wait.
Fuffins is full PUBG right now. Look at that. With his picture, he's just like,
photo.
hey, what's up?
I mean, Fuffins missed his media day.
So with this, these are the guys that won last round. Great performance coming out of them. Definitely a couple of people that we have been talking about. We did expect them to perform quite well inside of this.
Oh, nice. Oh, no! You blew it, Ewan. Come on, you're better than this. You've been playing this game a long time. Get the parachuting together, my friend.
I just fell.
Yeah, he was like,
I just fell.
Yeah. Well, they got a lot of meds around him at least. Hopefully, you can see running by. At least going to be able to get some energy drinks.
Yeah.
Get it started off there.
Sometimes you miss your parachute. Even the best of us. There's the med kit. You'll be fine.
That's the reward. Full med. Well, you don't want to burn a full med kit for that.
Sure you
want to save that for later.
Yeah,
surely.
Just in case. Oh, here we go.
We got a little bit of action coming out here, as you can see. Holding down this outside location, our hitman now all by his lonesome.
Yeah, 2-3-1, the man of mystery. You know, something that's kind of eluded us throughout this tournament. I've been watching this guy since the very beginning. Has always done a good job, but always finds himself kind of by his lonesome sometimes in these rounds. But for Doge, found himself that early kill, nice easy finish, but he seems to have lost his teammate as well. So done the damage, but not at a cost, I should say. So Tai Chi, Trick down below. So Yasnaya got some friends in there.
And out of all places, looks like we have a couple of people hanging out at the top of Stolber. This place doesn't usually get too much attention up here, but we got Eugene and Lowell Franco. Off in the distance, you can see there is somebody that's looting around the observatory little area over there. Can't quite make out who that is. That's going to be the PLM's guy over there.
Yep. Good old Stolber, home of action.
Oh, yeah. You can, all of the action right now. You can see it. Now, that being said, I do love Stolber endings, though. I love it whenever people like get the nice sniper rifles, post up on the different plateaus. We saw one pretty close to that in one of the games earlier this week. So with this, everybody's kind of mixed up. I mean, we got 80 players to start this thing off, so nowhere's necessarily safe. So it really comes down to kind of separating out and just dividing out these different locations. Yasnaya necessarily didn't separate out too well, and that's why we had the action inside of it. But with this, you can see that naturally Rozhok, an easy way to separate out.
I think for Rozhok specifically, it's a matter of which part you want to control. Now, if we could maybe take a quick peek at the map here, see what the circle looks like. We haven't quite seen that yet, but as far as finding Rozhok, Yasnaya, wherever, it kind of breaks down into quadrants, and that's kind of something that we've seen time and time again. These guys are used to this. So it is a southern circle. We're going to see that Pachinki and Rozhok area kind of be the pressure points. So you can see how many people, considering the northern path, are in the northern end of the map. So that northeastern side of the play zone will be a major transition point. You can already see teams around that. So for Team Panama, for instance, in a bit of a group around that Milta area. So when you kind of look at this map and think of transition points, there are a couple key areas, mainly being around that northeastern side, but also along the river by Georgiapol, coming in around that mountain area. So I think there'll be some long rotates here, Matt.
Well, also we have to account for, we do have a lot of military base island that is inside the circle. We could see a shift that direction, and we actually have nobody that opted into grabbing a vehicle and making a rotation down there. So we could see some potentially cruel shifts coming through very, very quickly. What I found interesting was the amount of people that were over around farm. If you saw, it was like about 6 duos in a general location in a very low loot density location.
Yeah, that farm area is one of those we'll bank on it. We'll go down there, check it out. Probably no one's going to go there, and everyone has the same idea, and you'll wind up with 6 teams around you. Spike on the motorcycle, taking a gentle cruise out to the countryside here. Maybe take a little bit of an early prone, check things out. Maybe spend the rest of the game laying in the grass.
He might be going for trying to catch a position point there, because there's going to be a lot of rotation, specifically in that area of the Gatka fields. People just try to gun their way through it. So if you can get there early, maybe catch a couple of free kills based off of it.
Talking to Spike through the games, actually a former baker, so spends a lot of time making decorative cakes, cupcakes, all sorts of things.
Ultra Razor and Simsy of Doom going down again in the 40th spot. That's 2 games in a row for them.
Well, that's that's life sometimes. Sometimes you get eliminated last, or first, I should say, in back-to-back games. So now, I mean, there's only 5 games today. So for Ultra and Simsy, a team that, of course, I picked to do well today, they're in last.
Look at this, just bringing it
And that's going to be
through.
2 back-to-back 0-point games. I don't think they had any kills. So
yeah, that's. Meanwhile, it's going to be the Gangstars guys. They're holding down this location, as it's going to be Spike that's making a slow rotation into this, all by his lonesome. So he's kind of putting himself in a 2v1 position.
Well, I think he might have found a seam there when Ultra and Simsy went down. Spike, we just saw him standing out in the field there. So grab that motorcycle, make a crash, grab a building. But it seems that Smeagol's got a bit of an idea that something's going on here. Skipinho, Pava down. Well, at least Pava's down. Skipinho's going for the res. Relene and Pimp on the way through.
I like this. This is a little bit dangerous, though, but they're trying to get into a new position. They were trying to capitalize off of the down, but the distance was just too far. You can see Raylene looked like he was stepping forward for it and then was like, you know, that's too far. Let's just back off. They're going to probably med back up. Just be happy with the knockoff of it. Meanwhile,
you can't go for compound pushes when you're weak. I mean, when you're in the open like that, it would be just too difficult really to close that gap in time to make sure that you could secure the kill before the res comes out. So that was a smart play by them.
Looks like we got Teflon was taking a couple of pot shots over at Papaya that was making a rotation through there. But they still have this neighbor that's just hanging out right in these red buildings right next to them.
Yeah.
Finally, a shot does come back. Smeagol's like, okay.
So for Smeagol, he just has to kind of determine where, if they're going to continue to focus on the fact they're marking buildings to say he's here, you know, type of thing. But they're in these buildings for a reason. They're trying to play for that position. They're not trying to take any fights. They're not trying to take too much damage. So for Smeagol to keep re-peeking this, he could get punished here very hard, and that's going to bring his teammate Teflon out of position, and that's where you get into trouble. So for Gangstars, I think it's just a matter of, hey, we have an interloper. Let's just live with that.
Well, they don't even know. They think it might be a duo at this stage. Keep in mind, 72 people alive. You're not going to assume a solo rotates all by their lonesome into your complex trying to hold it down.
Well, it's a matter of info, too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're only hearing one set of gunshots. They're not getting pushed. Teflon's also watching. I think at some stage you're going to determine that it's only a solo player. Okay. Obviously not something we're going to be able to determine at this stage.
Yeah, it's all going to be about how they opt into playing around that. Meanwhile, I killed Homework Bolt right on the edge of this as well, so they could participate in a third-party position if they do try to peek up the outside of this. See, the blue is slowly making its way inside now. We got people all the way up near Kamikaze up there. Kameshki.
Yeah, even listen to Eminem's new album, I think.
Well, no, you just run up there, and there was a running joke for a period of time whenever players went up there, it was just Kamikaze, because you go up there to die. If you don't find a vehicle, you're just done.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the one thing I noticed is that a lot of these players have not started that southern rotation yet with the blue very near. Now, it is only the first stage of the blue. It's not going to do a ton of damage, but for those, it looks like Ewan, Ewan is taking a bit of pressure, likely from that top coastal area, maybe one of the buildings next to him. But now the spot they've chosen here, this little dip, is a nice spot. I don't know if they want to go up this hill and grab the shack up here. It looks like that is going to be the case. This is the hold, unless you want to grab one of the coastal divots. It's a matter of choice now for Fuffins and Ewan. We see another team has arrived in this compound with Teflon. Mazzarini trying to make it to his teammate. He's only in the downstate. Spike looking for a res here, potentially. Teflon and Smeagol still playing relatively passively, not wanting to push on this down. So this might give Spike a bit of an opportunity to res Mazzarini, and then Smeagol and Teflon will be in trouble.
That was a nice rotation coming out from Spike, rotating out around the outside of it.
No pressure
here. Risky coming through. Well, at this point, you kind of have to wonder, what do the Gangstars players kind of think is happening? Do they think that this is another duo that's trying to invade in? Have they made the connection that it's the same player from beforehand? So they're just kind of biding their time at this point. Wow. The problem with it is they're surrendering this whole area. Yep. And now the fact that they're caught up in this control point. Nade's going to come through, but I don't think it's going to be able to connect into anything off of that. Yeah.
No, they're in an awkward spot now. This little half wall and the pile of garbage outside this house is going to make it difficult to land precision nades. Not to mention, I believe there's window bars on that side of the house. So a couple of different factors at play. K-Vault there with his teammate, maybe putting a little bit of pressure onto Smeagol and Teflon, who have now basically conceded this compound, and it's going to make it very difficult now for them to try and defend against other teams coming in.
Yeah, that's what's kind of slowing down any form of breach or any form of push that could want to come through here, because with these guys holding this outside wall, they can just look back over on anybody that tries to cross along that outside wall area. That's going to be where it's going to be safe. But I got to say, for being inside of a destructible shack, these guys are being very, very active. No fear coming through. They feel like they can hit the shots, and it looks like they're finally opting to bring the motorcycle back around into a little bit more safer of a position.
Yeah, they don't want to lose that vehicle. Likely going to be used in a little bit. So Smeagol and Teflon still in this compound, playing a bit of a staring match here with Spike and Mazzarini. And you have to wonder, for a team that has done very well to execute in other stages of the tournament, does Spike and Mazzarini want to get a little bit brave here, or is this a stalemate?
I think that we're kind of in a stalemate point. In my opinion, I think that you're kind of in the same mindset. It's going to be hard for either one of them to push. There's a lot of peekaboo going on right now. People doing leans out the windows, trying to see if they can spot anybody. Maybe get the down, maybe then go for a push based off of it. But we got Fluffins, Ewan holding down this location. This, again, you were talking about this beforehand. This is such a strong location for this area because you can see down in the valley right next to you. Plenty
Lots
of open space in front of you. Whenever you have faith in your aim, I love it whenever people play terrain pieces. Just get away from the buildings, get the full 360 degrees. Oh!
Yeah, oh my God, you got to watch out. That's can be deadly. This is actually one of the worst spots in the map, in my opinion. This hillside is constantly occupied, but we're just talking about positional choices here. So Fluffins and Ewan have essentially an unflankable position. Complete opposite here for Skipinyo and his teammate. They have this set of houses in front of them where they can constantly take fire. There's the yellows back behind them. The hill has a long enough gradient that you can easily flank up the sides. Now, considering how early it is in the game, they're not going to get a ton of pressure, but that's one of those spots that you can get sold on because it's okay. It's a bit of a high ground, a couple of trees to hide behind, but the cover is actually not that great. So for Skipinyo, they got to keep that in the back of their minds, not get too committed.
Got some rotations coming into play now as we're starting to get everybody start to be forced a little bit closer together. You can see 25 seconds before the blue firmly collapses down and we get our new safe zone. So a lot of these people that were rotating extremely late. We still saw a lot of people outside in the blue right now. Those guys up towards the north, I believe it was Ambush Eugene, just in no rush. Again, it's a first circle, doesn't tick too terribly hard, so nobody's in a big rush to get down to these locations. But the problem with it is, with these late rotations coming down, you're surrendering up all of the good terrain points that you might want to play.
So again, looking at this new circle, thank you, Fluffins, or sorry, Ewan, for checking that out for us. So we have now the channel still in play, but it is around that Ferry Pier, Gatka South area. And again, look at all these teams that have not made it into the current play zone. So that map pressure, again, along that northern side is going to be mounting. Right. This is where that passive play is going to start to bite these guys a little bit because you cannot expect to make it through this next play zone without getting pressure along that northern side of the map. So for those of you out there wondering, it is going to be a bit of a tough transition, and for these guys who have decided to play passive, they might be punished for it. Exactly.
These late rotations are going to be so rough because with this circle, you've got the canal that's going through there, so there's a lot of water, also still in the Gatka Fields area, so wide out and in the open. You're going to see a lot of people going into potentially shacks just because there's not a lot to work around. Meanwhile, you can see the Evil Geniuses guy, they did manage to find themselves a barn right on the edge of this. So playing
the edge, they found the zone, which is fine. I mean, they have a nice safe spot. This barn outside of Pachinki is a great compound to hold. You can see the experience there happening. Wacky Jackie, rolling his vehicle, coming to a stop. That's a problem for him. Going to take a little bit of damage. Likely has a little bit of cover. He's going to have to back this off into another tough compound to manage. Wacky Jackie taking a lot of pressure, having to simply prone out because Cigarettes is down there shooting at him. Spreezy actually ran over his teammate, and that was the damage I think we saw him take a little bit earlier. So for Cigarettes, now losing his teammate to Spreezy, trying to get a bit of a revenge.
Look at this, stepping out, full aggro at this stage. Knows they got a little bit of damage off, knows the vehicle has been flipped, has to assume maybe the teammate will circle back around. So it looks like he's going for a little bit of a position, rotation point. He knows that he needs to make it inside the safe zone with about 30 seconds to go. Meanwhile, he's managed to position himself in front of Wacky Jackie. So now if Wacky Jackie has to make this run, he's the whole way going to have to be contending with Cigarettes.
Well, Cigarettes is looking for movement, trying to make the zone at this stage. It's a bit of a race. The blue again starting to cruise in. So for Dougie, I don't think he's got the memo. He's going to stay in his house and stay perfectly still.
And here we go. Here is the glory that is Gatka Fields. You can see everybody separated out, just trying to find whatever shack that they can kind of abide their time into at this point. A lot of rough position coming through there. Meanwhile, our guys we were watching beforehand, the Gangstars people as well as Mazzarini and his duo partner, they're still holding down those complexes, just kind of looking back and forth at each other. No real rush. We got Cavalt still holding down that same position as well. Our people back over next to those hillsides. It's going to be Raylene, also now capable of kind of looking back through there. It looks like Smeagol and Teflon have decided that this is starting to get a little bit too contested. Meanwhile,
well.
Sacriel and Break finally starting to make a little bit of an appearance now.
The Kingsmen, the duo, the T-Boys, looking to see if they can find a little bit of vision onto Wolf and Disciple. See if they can get anything going here. One thing that makes me sad about this production is we were unable to secure Baby Break's day rate. So we did not have Baby Break in attendance here. Break definitely avoiding meeting his long-lost child once again. And look at that, we have a flare gun crate coming down. Teflon deciding to use the power-up, call down some extra gear. And it's not the UAZ this time. That's a bunch of gear in there. So that's two decent weapons, a bunch of ammo, a bunch of armor, I should say, a couple of backpacks, good for two teammates. Smeagol, however, pinned behind the crates, unable to participate in the crate party. and will find himself without any favors.
Speaking of the crate party, it looks like Oko managed to find himself something over here. Oko has been very impressive inside of this event so far. We've seen him on a lot of times by his lonesome, performing such phenomenal clutch plays.
Yeah, he's got to be clutching when his teammate's constantly dead, unfortunately.
Yeah,
so
yeah. I mean, all pressure shows up on you. You got to perform, but he's been doing such a great job.
Muffins, Ewan, again, in houses, secure, safe,
hanging out.
It steady. Now on the coast. Now this is where things get a little bit interesting, where there's so much water still in this circle, and we're about to see yet another transition. Will the water adjust out? Most likely. Where is it going to center up? Maybe around that field's area, but we have seen hard shifts in this case before. We see Venerated and Caden closer to that quarry area, a little bit more of a complex run for them. Break and Sacriel would be wise to actually get around Wolf here and keep them kind of hemmed in that compound. They do have a hill to use right there as well. They kind of come up onto that hill, keep vision onto that compound, try and stay safe, but they don't want to silhouette, don't want to give away too many sight lines. But for Break and Sacriel, I think they have to know that that compound is going to be occupied. We've seen another circle shift. Let's take a look and see where we're going.
Meanwhile, over here with Cigarettes, as you can see, about to make his way inside the safe zone. Wacky Jackie still back behind him at the time. Going to be approaching on the same angle that Sacriel and Break are holding. This is a good spot to try to catch people off of rotations coming through. So now it's going to be a matter of who gets vision on whom first. Is Cigarettes going to see them as he steps over this hillside, or could they see him back in return? So see ASM still holding the top of the leaderboards at the time. And there was
still water in. We can see the circle, yeah. So
just off to the side of the pier.
Thank you, Cigarettes, for showing us that circle. So we're going to see, again, the water going to stay in place, circling around that ferry pier area. So for Fuffins and Ewan, I think they were in the best possible spot. You can see June and Tume staying active. Break and Sacriel now have a good spot here, but they have Cigarettes in sight. Will Sac or Break
they're looking
find them
angles.
first? Yeah, they're just Cigarettes is sneaking between
You've
them.
You've been here for so long, guys. Come on, this is your moment.
Can you imagine they get flanked and killed by one guy? Oh my God.
After holding down this position, surely he's in the low ground spot. Somebody has to see him at this point. Does he actually see them first?
He doesn't see them, but
no. Look, he's holding down a defensive position. I think that he did actually spot them out.
Well, for Break and Sacriel, hopefully they don't get surprised, but they're going to have to move. They have a vehicle at their disposal. They're waiting to see any movement coming out of that compound. I think that's their primary focal point. But for Cigarettes, he knows he's got a long run. He doesn't have himself a vehicle. And, you know, I suppose for now, he's going to see that vehicle on the move. That's Sacriel and Break moving up from their position. Now, this late vehicle push by Sacriel and Break, a little risky.
Definitely at this stage, could be a little bit violent. You can see a lot of people already holding down multiple complexes coming through there. You got the First Lady off to the side as well as Finguin holding down that high ground position. Meanwhile, Raylene looks like they finally got pushed off the side. Nade bounces pretty close to it. Rez does get up, but no time to get any meds off. Pimp's going to hold down a position, just drop down, provide some form of cover so that way his teammate can potentially get some heals off. Nice shots coming out there, so we get down onto Forever. Tindo still holding back that location.
Stolen.
Nice spray coming out. Gavalt on the side.
Yeah, Gavalt jumped out of the shack there and stole both of those kills, so that was a little bit of a bonus there for Pimp, but for Netanyahu, they didn't do anything there.
Here's that risk that you were talking about with Break and Sacriel on this late rotation. There's just bullets coming from everywhere. Break's already gotten hit for several of these. Sacriel's having to stop on a given point now, trying to get away from the Evil Geniuses guys, but they're just trying to run anywhere they can. Every one of these hills is already claimed.
You know what? It looked like he was taking a lot more damage than he actually did there. So for Break, even though he's got that level 3 vest protecting him right now, the U.S. now to about 30% health. He's just going straight for a vehicle crash onto this compound. He's got to jump out low health. So don't listen to me. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Good play by Break and Sacriel.
They managed to survive, but it was risky. You know,
I'm just trying to advise them to stop and jump out in an open field. I'm a tremendous tactician.
So you can kind of get a little bit of the lay of the land that's coming out here, as a lot of people have been forced to play along these hillside locations. The fields are so rough, though. If we see a rotation away from this, as far as the circle shifting out, these guys in the fields are going to have so much trouble getting out of these locations. Already having to burn smokes, you can see laying out across that field. That means that's a lot of utility already coming out.
This is actually great for Sacriel and Break. They managed to both make it there through a swarm of enemies, so I'm not sure who's crazier, the people shooting or the people trying to make it through the gunfire, but they make it there. Break's lost his vehicle, but he's got a bit of cover on the side of this house. They have the compound being shared by a few different teammates, but now joining here at Ferry Pier, we have Pava Skipinho and NA Luck is there as well with Fuffins and Ewan. So this is going to be a bit of a complicated area to try and hold, because Ferry Pier has that up and down dynamic, a lot of fences, a lot of hills, a lot of little buildings here. We are going to see yet another circle shift. We'll see where it goes. If it comes off of Ferry Pier, it's going to be very difficult for anyone to win this game.
Wacky Jackie finally makes it inside the blue after his long trip, and I think he runs straight into Machine Gunner, so it looks like Wacky Jackie does get taken out there. Meanwhile, you can see a lot of people still caught out in the blue at this point, but we're going to come back over to the Ferry Pier fight. As we can see, the shift has gone up a little bit to the north, so that means that Fluffins and you are going to have to move. It looks like it might go through the window. Is that going to secure anything off of it? At least it's going to buy some time for a reposition.
That actually was a very masterful throw. Made it look effortless there. Nailed it. Didn't prime the grenade at all. Gave lots of time to avoid it. Look at Cigarettes going on the flank on the low side here. He sees, or at least he can hear Raleen and Pimp on the top side. He's got a little bit of low health. He probably doesn't want to take too many fights there with Pimp taking out a teammate. Sorry, that was Bearju going down. So Cigarettes in the blue trying to make it in. He's got a team right ahead of him. He can hear all these shots coming. We'll see if Cigarettes can make something happen. Cresting the hill, looking now, looking for information, trying to find any movement in the trees ahead. He spots one, takes him down, looking good, looking for more now. Has to find the teammate. Will he be able to do it? Low health. Blue starting to encroach very soon, and he will. Raleen goes down. Cigarette securing the kill. 2v1, looking good.
Look at this play coming out from him. So patient inside of this. Remember, he's been running for like the last 5 minutes since we saw that skirmish with Wacky Jackie beforehand. So finally making his way inside there. Cavalt's still holding down a position on him, though, so got to be very careful off of this encroachment.
Pava and Skip and Yo taking care of, getting taken care of by Fuffins and Ewan, so that's 1-5-1. Cavalt knows that, is it K-Vault or Cavalt? I'm going to say K-Vault from now on. So K-Vault knows that there's a player remaining over there. Would have heard Cigarettes taking down those duos. Cigarettes just decides, I don't give a damn. I'm taking this buggy and I'm moving out. So Cigarettes definitely moving past K-Vault now, but still has to med, taking some more damage on the way through. So for Cigarettes, the fight is not over, but he seems to be positioning himself quite well.
Keep in mind, we still have 35 people alive, 21 teams, all things considered. This is a tiny circle. Now we have somebody that's crashing right in the back of where Break is. That's going to be Mazrini and Spike off of their rotation. This has turned into a very violent neighborhood very quickly. So trying to get their meds up, they had to hear the encroachment back behind them, so they're trying to defend up, looking to see if anybody comes up this stairwell. The problem with it, though, is if with as many people have crashed into this location, you can get shot from so many different angles. Every window feels like it's vulnerable. You've got people on the stairs down below you, so the moment you try to get any information, it could just get explosive.
This is an overbooked Airbnb right here. We have Sacriel and Break in the top story. We have Spike and Mazzarini on the bottom. PND's next door, making a little bit of noise by staying perfectly still. Godspeed, Master Nook across the way, and now this has become a bit of a focal point, this compound, since the circle has shifted a little bit further north. Ferry Pier is going to be emptying quite soon as we have a minute left on this this next rotation. Venerated and Caden, quiet game for them, playing passively as expected, trying to make sure that they get that good placement. But now it's a matter of these Ferry Pier teams. Looks like they've mostly made the zone. Oko on the way up, moving towards NA Luck.
They've spent this whole time inside of a boat, if you didn't realize. They were just hanging out down there.
A little fish. You know.
Finally being forced to collapse in. So now it's going to come down to a lot of these teams that are playing along these hillsides. See, the point of it,
this is bad.
They could hold down this location beforehand, but now it's going to come down to all these guys on the top. And look at that shot coming through, getting the down on a Spike, but so much damage onto Break's gear. Did you see that? Ariel, his helmet's about to pop off.
That was that run in the vehicle, I think, right? Oh, no, Mazzarini's down below. Had no idea, but the trade potential there. Sacriel a little bit out of position, looking to try and do something here, but they're going to both be rezzing here, but I'm not sure if Break knows where Spike was. He doesn't know where he was down, so maybe they're going to be defending that push. Sacriel likely waiting. We'll see if they go for the res. If we can take a quick look back and Break to see if they've managed to get this res off. I'm not sure if they're going to have the time and space to do this. They have no circle pressure coming their way just yet. Yeah, so Break was rezzed. Smart play now, but he's lost. His helmet and his vest is likely halfway destroyed as well.
And all information of what's happening in the house. To get this res off, they had to come out, they had to close the door. Now they have very limited information. Meanwhile, Master Nook, Godspeed, you can see repositioning now. They keep hearing these firefights happening, so they're just trying to see if they can catch anything onto it. New circle has shifted. These guys are inside the safe zone, so it's going to be Fingwin and First Lady as well as the Envy boys that have to make their way down this hillside. Godspeed, Master Nook going for a reposition on this, so it looks like they're going to go crash right next to the building. So that means they just used it to cross the road.
I like it. I thought they were going to try and make it all the way in there, but just trying to use their time wisely, make the crash into that building. Good play from Godspeed and Master Nook. Now again, this little compound is turning into a pressure cooker. Look at all these teams hanging on to it. They get the zone once again, and look at all these solo players, these one-off teams also on the edge of the zone. They're all going to have to come through this hilled area. Envy and Caden, excuse me, Venerated and Caden now coming on the low side, trying to find Kazi and Zoidmate, who have had a relatively quiet game as well, but now poised to meet here on the way through.
This could get very violent. There's all those teams around the pier that are going to have to make their way across. Meanwhile, we have a couple of teams that are already holding down this location right in front of the Envy boys we were just talking about. So they can see the smokes. They know that there's a lot of people in rotation. And keep in mind those buildings that we were just looking at where Godspeed and Masternook rotated, they can actually see this direction as well. So there's going to be a lot of third-party fights that are going to be breaking out through there. But the Envy guys do get the knock onto Zoid there. So now it's going to allow them to move forward just a little bit more. They're trying to monitor what's happening around the smoke. That's a nice use to come out there. Looking around, they can see the fact that this is starting to get a little bit hot. So it looks like Caden's going to retreat back out and around, grab their car, try to bring it a little bit further forward so that way they can have a little bit of cover. But yeah, you can see Ko right down there. We've got Zoid that's going to be rezzed in the process.
I'm surprised they're not nading the smoke. I think they're a little bit worried about other teams around this area. I think they have to know that the down player's in there, but KO jumps out and says, surprise, Venerated goes down. KO, a great player. Caden already on the vehicle rotate. This is going to be horrible for Venerated, stuck in the down state. Caden's already left, and that's it going to be, I think, for them.
No, Caden's still alive, just barely.
Yeah, that was another team going down, just like that. Yeah, that was really hard for them. There was no way. Caden was already on the move to try to get the zone, but Fingwin and First Lady there to catch him. So that was actually great for Zoidmate and Kazi, but Kazi has been finished it off just like that. So, you know, that was that's the pressure of this last phase with so many alive. It's so hard to try and determine who's going to come out on top. KO getting a couple of kills there, but this wooded area outside this compound is going to be so hard to get through.
I got to say right now, Masternook and Godspeed, I think they have the best position. They don't have anybody that's out and around them. Everybody else keeps crashing the buildings right next to them. So that's where the Sacriel, Break, and Mazzarini fight's kind of happening at. They can kind of survey the entirety of what's happening around them. So they can dictate how so many of these fights happen.
It's going to be a bloodbath.
Oh, everybody that's going to have to move away from this location is going to be so rough. Still 23 people alive, 15 duos, all things considered.
If this compound comes out, it's going to be horrible. So Break a little bit frozen in time there. Looking at Spike, you can see now what the circle's going to do, and it will. We're going to jump around in time a little bit. Come off the compound. So this is into an open field, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be very, very difficult for anyone to do anything. Damien and THC have a little bit of a hill that they can use. Fingwin First Lady also in a decent spot, but this hilled area, I mean, you saw Zoidmate and KO kind of next to each other. And this whole compound is going to have to empty, and that means the last one out is likely going to get caught. You can see Masternook and Godspeed making the risky play, but the smart play to get out early.
Spike went down inside of it. Mazzarini was trying to circle out and around, so Mazzarini's all by himself. Break and Sacriel still holding down this upper location. 30 seconds before the circle comes through. They can jump back down and through, but there's so much violence to be had there.
Masternook just took down Godspeed. So likely trying to blow up their own vehicle for cover, takes down Godspeed. Just like that vehicle push now coming apart. Masternook taking a lot of pressure, trying to stay calm. They have the smokes down, just trying to get that res. Masternook staying mobile at the very least, doing a ring around the Rosie, around the vehicle.
Got Mazzarini.
But he got him, but also Tai Chi's in the back line. So for Break and Sacriel, they're riding the blue, but they're playing it safe. They're trying to wait for more footsteps. Tai Chi in the back line, trying to catch anyone leaving a little bit early, but this is going to be hard for them. They have two separate solos. Can that play work out for them? Tai Chi moving now along the buildings, the circle at his back. We'll see now what Sacriel and Break decide to do. Do they want to jump off the balcony, go down the stairs? They can hear the footsteps of this stage.
You can see this is competitive circles, so those blue ticks are going to hit so hard at this point. Taichi holding this angle, knows the fact that somebody's out and around him. 3 different players all in this location. Technically 4 if count Taichi, just holding down that location. The moment that they jump, they can just jump right down into his line of fire, but he's caught up looking this other angle. He can kind of see, I believe that he can actually see Zoid moving around.
They can't take blue damage here.
Yeah.
They can't take blue damage here. Sacriel and Break are already low on meds, ammo, everything. So it's going to be hard for them. But again, that blue's doing a lot of damage. Taichi's going to maybe jump in the buggy. No, he'll get finished off. But now they have to run. They're going to have to run through this blue zone. They don't know who's left, and they're going to be late arriving. There's the kill again. So we're going to see Break running through an open field with no meds, no helmet, and not a lot of health at this stage. Sacriel taking damage from the blue. I think he waited too long. Yes, he did, and he will get finished off by Fingwin, and just like that, Break's in trouble as well. This might be it for them.
Trying to run forward. Looks like he managed to find himself a little bit of a divot, but third party is going to come through. Nice shots coming out from guys. Looks like we're going to go pop back in just for a second. Poor Break. We got to watch him die twice,
100% confirmed. Not a lot of options there, but they did make it to the top 10 teams. So for Fingwin and First Lady, now that positioning paying off for them.
Fluff and Ewan still strong, getting a little bit of control over this area. Remember, they just won round 1 coming through here. First Lady and Fingwin in a great spot, but at this point, 13 people still alive. You have to assume that anybody could be behind any tree. And look at this, they managed to find themselves one of the armored UAZs to work with.
And that's going to be a bonus for them. It's not blowing up yet, a little bit mobile, but again, we see another circle centering around THC and Damien, who continue to get the circle here. So the exterior of this circle is, I guess, what you would expect this late in the game with 13 alive. Ewan and Fuffins now coming in on the top side. They also have a vehicle. They've been doing quite well, picked up a lot of kills on the way here as well. So for Fuffins and Ewan, they have the zone. They have their own armored UAZ looking in better shape. And I think they're looking good in this game here.
They've got control over this area of the map. It seems like a lot of the other duos are kind of posted up in different locations, a little bit more bulked together. So they can kind of dictate how people move based off this. Meanwhile, Scurry and Dietrich's playing this lower area.
Wow.
You can see it's going to be Fingwin just instantly dropped by Zoid off in the distance there. It's going to come down to calls and information at this point. As you hear each firefight break out, everybody's just kind of spinning around, looking out from the distance. They want to take these shots, but it's a little bit risky. Yeah,
they don't need to
collect
take this
the information.
Fight. Yeah, they're just going to see who's jumping around looking for a teammate, and just like that, maybe they will start shooting. There's the teammate, so now it's all hands on deck to try and take them down. They got a decent line of sight, but they always want to be checking that flank. They don't want to get surprised here late in this game, but they have so much vision, such a great position here for you, and they've got this UAZ parked for cover. They have a ton to hide behind, and they have a great line of sight all the way along this wooded little hillside.
And they separated out quite nicely,
but
Cigarettes is right there next to him, gets the down onto it, so that's going to be a little bit of an overextension coming through. Meanwhile, you can see Zentrix did get knocked. Rez coming through right now. Blazen's going to be able to cover him, so they get back up, but they don't have much to work with. You can see Vest already damaged, teammates already lost his helmet.
Nice, they saved him.
Ewan's running back over here at this point, just trying to get over to his teammate, get the res up. Smokes are going to go down, but that's going to draw a lot of eyes to this location.
Well, they're in the low ground. They have a divot. They have the smoke down. I think this res should be relatively safe, but they can hear shots very nearby as the circle continues to close. But they're on the short side of the circle, closing a little bit slower for them. But there comes Damien getting taken down by Blazin. So just like that, with all that good positioning, they were unable to secure a finish there. But for Damien and THZ, likely good enough to continue to hold on to a very decent placement here. Now Zentrix and Blazin, the last two, or one of the last couple of duos here, a few solos out in play, I believe.
DP at this stage, laying down, just waiting for it. See, Scurry and Dietrich still alive on one angle. Fluffin's back on the side of this, over next to Zentrix and a Blazin that we were looking at just a second ago. Zoid's just kind of caught off by his lonesome right now. He's kind of caught in between two different duos, so he's going to play this very, very carefully.
Yeah, he's in the zone, so he doesn't have to move too far. We'll see what this circle does, and that'll kind of dictate the rest of this game. It looks like it has gone to Fuffins and Ewan on their side. So for Zoidmate, he's got the longest run, and now Scurry and Dietrich have to make a decision here as well. So for now, it's just a matter of waiting. I think it's a bit of a snake game at this stage, but Fuffins and Ewan seem to have the advantage. They have the gap, they have the sight lines, and they also have now, they've decided to stay split, which kind of punished them one time, but they cleared out a solo. So for Fuffins and Ewan, they're just kind of trying to play the odds here. And I think maybe Ewan tries to collapse onto Fuffins.
Well, we can see that Blazin and Zentrix already holding down a strong location at this stage. Fluffins looks like they might be able to go for a sneaky flank back around this, all depending on how they play the circle. Zoid also has an interesting angle, but I think he's going to be walking right into line of fire on any angle that he approaches from. So I think that this is going to be one of the big factors in it. Can Fluffin and Ewan, can they get the angle? Can they sneak up behind Blazin and Zentrix? If they can get this, we can get very violent, because we can see everybody's starting to come through. 3 seconds for gets the first down onto Zentrix. So that's where this is going to get a little bit more risky. Grenade's now starting to come up to follow it through. Now everybody else has heard this. They know that this could potentially be their moment to move. So let's see how we make the plays based off of this.
They're pushing upstairs. Let's see them.
Looking good for Ewan and Fuffins. They've got one down, looking for Zentrix, who's got to be nearby. Or sorry, Blazin, rather. Yeah, Blazin, who's got to be nearby. So Fuffins is close enough to try and spray down. Ewan can now see. I believe that's probably Zoidmate on the run.
Well, I think this is actually holding back over Dietrich and Scurry at the point, so they're actually taking on 2 different duos at the same time. Just trying to connect with the headshots onto this. Peaks coming back and forth, a lot of damage coming back onto Ewan. He's going to retreat back into the smokes at this stage.
Full med kit.
But he has to go. He has to go. You can see this is a late game blue circle. He just barely makes it through, gets hit there, and is going to try to crawl his way over to Fluffins. I think at this point, he's just an information.
Yeah.
He's just got to feed it out as it goes through. We're down to 5.
Ewan kind of misplayed that a little bit. I think the med kit might have been a little bit bold. Maybe would have moved a little bit early, but here I am casting, not playing. So luckily for Fuffins, he's still, well, he was in the game there for a minute, but for Dietrich, taking him down and out. So now there's a bunch of solos in play. It's Scurry and Dietrich have the advantage, but that zone continues to tick away on some of these guys. And now we've reached the final play zone. Only 20 seconds remain before we're forced into the center. Scurry and Dietrich with the man advantage. Blazin and Zoidmate have to try and deal with each other, but they're unaware of the positioning. Dietrich and his partner there, Scurry, spreading out, looking for some information. Blazin in in the bush. Zoid mate by the tree. And now they have to feel comfortable here, but they have to be careful not to get separated out. The boosts are ticking. No armor on D-Treats. Broken helmet on D-Treats. If he gets caught out by himself, this could be a disaster. The circle's closing. Matchroom, it's all down to this.
Oh, Scurry and D-Treats, they had such a great performance coming through the qualifiers to get through this stage. Saw them perform through and get something, trying to connect onto it. So Blazin is now down. They know that it's essentially a 2v1 at this stage.
Right,
they're
Zoid
just searching for it. Zoid doing such a great job in staying alive, living the snake life at this point. But he's just trying to get some information based off, and look at this. He is just trapped behind a tree.
Let's go,
it's
Zoid.
all going to be on the angles. Can he connect onto this? First spray goes a little bit to the outside. Having to go for the reload, trying to connect onto it. Already knocked down to about halfway. Gets it down to one of them, but can't get the second one. So it's going to be D-Treats and Scurry getting the round win.
That was really close. I like the spray. I like the positioning. Looking real good there from Zoid mate, but ultimately the man advantage going to D-Treats and Scurry, securing a victory here in game number 2. Looking good. The legends themselves trying to figure out how that all came together, but a win's a win. Good job here for these two guys.
That's their second round win over the last 3 days coming on through, all things considered. Being a very model of performance. Love how the fact that they had to ditch the hoodies. You can see already sweaty, already inside of it.
Getting hot in here. So
getting hype about it.
What a nice finish there for that game. I mean, that was a really interesting wooded area finish where you have to really manage your positioning, rolling around, trying to find those angles.